Hi, Tony from SongWriters Chop Shop here, and this is songwriting tips from famous songwriters. If you want to improve your songwriting skills, stick around to the end of this video because I'll be chop shopping tips from famous songwriters and turning them into actionable steps that you can apply to your songwriting today. This week on Songwriting Tips from Famous Songwriters, one of the most interesting songwriters around at the moment. It's Billie Eilish. Tip 1. Study the masters.
Even since I was little, like in the car, my dad would make a bunch of mixtapes of tons of the Beatles and Avril Lavigne and Linkin Park and Green Day and My Chemical Romance and Sarah McLachlan and Peggy Lee and tons of different artists and different kinds of genres.
We're all a product of our influences, so the more variation in the music we listen to, the more it will give us to draw from. So listen to music you love and consider what you love about it. In fact, listen to all kinds of music and broaden your horizons. Try listening to a song or a genre of music that you wouldn't usually and find something that you can appreciate about it, be it a lyric, a beat, a sound, anything. I don't like death metal, but I can appreciate the skill level it takes to play at those breakneck speeds. The Beatles may be too old school for, say, a trap artist, but studying their songs you can literally learn everything there is to know about songwriting. From an early age, Billie was exposed to music from all different genres, from Peggy Lee to My Chemical Romance. She didn't judge it, she just listened and took it all in. There's something to learn from every song out there, so learn to find something that you appreciate in music that you don't usually listen to. You might just find something that will take your songwriting to the next level.
If you take your pride out of yourself and listen to the art that they're creating, it's there's so much in there and it's so real, and the fact that everybody's so yeah, but they're a joke because it's their art because they made it because they wanted to. The only reason that you're uncomfortable with it is because it's not what you're used to. And I think the world is so caught up with just liking things because everyone else likes them.
And don't be too cool for school. It's a form of judgment and self-editing. Editing during times of inspiration is the quickest way to kill it. If you like something that is considered cheesy or cliche, so what? It somehow got into your head and stuck there. And isn't that a major step for getting people to remember your music? So find out why it's stuck. Tip 2. Write about whatever you want.
You don't have to go through anything to write about it. It's literally like telling a story. You can write about something you've done, you can write about something your friend's done, or you want to do, or you used to do.
Even if you haven't been through a situation, you have a brain and you have an imagination. Do you think J.K. Rowling ever spent any time in wizard school? Or that George Lucas was ever in a galaxy far, far away? Or that Freddie Mercury was ever an actual queen? Believe it or not, David Bowie never went to space and Billie Eilish never murdered anyone.
I had no idea that you could write about anything. I thought, you had to go through exactly what you write about because, you're not keeping it real. You can write about fiction. I haven't killed my friends, thank you. It's like a character.
It's a common practice in every other field of creativity. So where does this idea come from that you have to only write about what you know?
You're not keeping it real.
Well, most of what you think is real is just a fiction or a concept you've been led to believe anyway.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
So challenge those assumptions. What is real? And are you sure? Have you tested it for yourself, or you're just accepting a narrative that's been spoon-fed to you from the day you were born? To see what I mean, just ask yourself, who am I?
Well, I'm an executive assistant at a major pet products company.
I don't want you to tell us what you do. I want you to tell us who you are.
I'm a pretty good guy. I like playing tennis on occasion.
Also, not your hobbies, Dave. Just simple. Tell us who you are.
I'm a nice, easygoing man. I might be a little bit indecisive at times.
Dave, you're describing your personality. I want to know who you are.
Find the answer to that question and you won't need to worry about keeping it real ever again. And don't think you can't find the truth through fiction. Famous author Albert Camus once said, "Fiction is the lie through which we tell the truth." And as far as you should only write about what you know, well, guess what? You can only write about what you know. No matter what the subject, you are you and you can't know life any other way. Just look at all the movies or books about aliens. Well, the probability that any of the people that wrote them ever met an alien is 0. So they had to write about aliens from a human perspective. That's why all the aliens in these things behave like humans, or all the animals in The Lion King behave like humans, because humans can only know what it's like to be human. So anything you write can only ever be what you know. Tip 3. Spice up your writing with similes and interesting imagery.
My boy loves his friends like I love my split ends. By that I mean he cuts them off. When we came up with that line, it was like a moment. We were like, we are God. And like, we're not, but you should feel like that sometimes.
A simile is a figure of speech that compares one thing to another and makes the description more vivid and interesting. So what makes this one so good? Let's have a look. If Billie had said, my boy cuts his friends off like blades of grass, that's not a great simile. We all know grass gets cut, it's pretty obvious and it lacks imagination. You might also argue that you mow grass rather than cut it. So a better version might be, my boy treats his friends like split ends. So this one describes the quality of her boy's relationship with his friends. Split ends hint at something that is damaged and outgrown. So now the imagery is way more interesting and has a deeper layer of meaning. But why stop there? My boy loves his friends like I love my split ends. And by that I mean he cuts them off. So what do her boy's friends and split ends have in common? Well, in this case, being cut off. So now we're getting more description through imagery of not only her boy, but his relationship with his friends. A good way to bypass cliche similes is to make a list of random things and find ways they can be connected. It takes a little work, but you'll be happy with the results.
I mean, the beginning of that song, the first verse of that whole song, which is, my boy's being sus, he was shady enough, but now he's just a shadow. So it's like shady, you know, if it's shady in the park, it's a bunch of shadows of trees. But it's kind of all of the shadows in one, so it's like shade. But so it's like almost a shadow. He was shady, now he's just flat out a shadow.
Tip 4. Take control of your own artistic and creative vision.
So many people right now are getting famous because of someone else. There's an artist and we want to make this artist a star. We want to make her blah, blah. And it's like, okay, the way you're gonna do that is have someone else write the song, someone else style her to look like somebody else that she's not, put a ton of makeup on her that she doesn't freaking look like herself in, like all these artificial things that involve so many people that are not the person that's getting to where everyone else wants them to be. And it's like, if you're just getting somewhere because everyone else wants you to be there, or you're getting there because you're being everyone else, you just get to a place where it's like, what is the point of that?
You can't please everyone, so as Shakespeare said, to your own self be true. It's more important than ever to be hands-on and take control of your own artistic vision, so don't be afraid to do the unexpected. Be more hands-on with your music, visuals, character and production. Don't chase trends, be real, honest, and don't be afraid to be different. Hit songwriter Bonnie McKay, co-writer of such hits as Teenage Dreams and Roar, said of Billie Eilish, her voice is so angelic and the music she's making is so introspective. A lot of it's almost like a lullaby. Pairing that kind of music with this exciting visual and this exciting character and production is really different, and using lyrics that are really unusual, she's telling stories that haven't been told before. Tip 5. Don't define yourself by your perceived oppression.
How can you say that if you're somebody's, people are looking up to you, Billie, like how could you possibly say something like that? I'm like, you know why they're looking up to me? Because I say shit like that. I say what the f I want to say, because if I don't say it, what is the point of freaking not doing what you want to do? I just don't know. There's the fact that women can't really, and that's sort of the rule. Subconsciously, it's everyone's rule. Universally, women with personalities are hated. That's a universal fact, and I know that, and I've always known that. It's so ugly to me.
Don't be afraid to speak your truth, but as Friedrich Nietzsche once said, beware when fighting monsters, you yourself do not become a monster. It's easy to fall into the blame game, be it about gender, race, nationality, an unsatisfactory work or home life, or even chasing our own tails trying to be the next big thing. It's not these things in themselves that oppress us, but it's how we choose to look at them. It's a trick of the mind that keeps us defining ourselves by the standards that we claim to oppress us. Now, I'm not saying oppression isn't real. It is, and it's ugly, but in most of our day-to-day lives, we oppress ourselves by the thoughts and the assumptions that go unchecked. As a songwriter, it's important to open your mind and let creativity in. So do you feel some external situation is holding you back? If so, it might be worth asking, is this true, or is it an assumption? Well, that's it for this week. Let me know in the comments if it made sense to you, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And for God's sake, smash that bell. Catch you next time.